Hey tankers, and welcome to the coast of Normandy, where we are in the Granatenwerfer Panther, which is the Tier 7 German self-propelled gun. This is World of Tanks with PR154, and thanks for joining the channel once again. We're following this tank because this was actually my third and final completion of the Bloc-15.1 Personal Campaign mission, Mouthful of Diamonds, which required us to pick up 2 either Epic or Battle Heroes medals. And this was a mission I'd actually struggled with quite a bit, but I managed to pick up all 3 of them in fairly quick succession, despite being at it for quite a while. So I was kind of stoked with that. So managed to do that in a self-propelled gun of all things. And if this is a particular mission set that you've struggled with, well, hopefully this guide will sort of help point you in the right direction. Obviously SPGs are a controversial class. They're loved by some, hated by many, and there's a few SPG changes in the works at the moment. Very widely differing opinions about them, which I probably won't go into. It probably isn't the right forum for it. But we take our initial shot towards the enemy Jagdpanzer 4. Bit of a swing and a miss there. So we'll target this spot here. This is a bit of a popular spotting position. So if you manage to get your light tanks performing a little better than the enemy light tanks, well, often they'll pick up an enemy light tank or medium tank there. We can see our Panther is in a bit of trouble, and not aided by the fact that I've just dropped a shell near his arse and stunned him. So apologies to Aaron 2x4 there. So we'll try to point our gun in a direction where we can do some good. We haven't really done anything thus far. Alright, maybe prioritising this enemy A46 might help. No, he's hidden again. That's alright. We can still see the Breton Panther. Can we draw a bead on it? No. How about this Achilles? Can we draw a bead on it? No, it's playing behind the rock as well. The enemy is playing quite well, making good use of its hard cover and avoiding sight lines by artillery pieces. Scores are roughly level at the moment, with 1 gun down on each side, and we managed to take our inflict first blood on the enemy, putting a shot into the Breton Panther. Just waiting for this shell to reload again. We found our Jagdpanzer 4 again. We previously saw over at the 8-9 line, but there he is, and we drop a shell on him. And it looks like our friendly M44 has been able to finish him off for us. A bit of the occupational hazard of games with multiple SPGs, in that you get hit by one, and I guess where one hits you, there's a couple that often tend to follow. So we'll line up that Achilles, but Ishmash Saiga in the M44 is just completely on the ball today, and manages to send the Achilles back to the garage before our shell lands. So we're conscious that it's a 3 SPG game. In the absence of sort of too many targets we could focus on, it's always prudent to have a look around and see if you can spot tracer fire coming from enemy artillery pieces, but couldn't on this occasion, and you can't linger there for too long before you need to get your gun sight back in the fight. The enemy's made a push along the beach, so we line up the AC4 experimental, managed to land a decent hit on that as well. Looks like 3 SPGs targeting that area, so not a great place to loiter. The enemy is making some advances along the 3-4 line with the T150 and the Breton Panther. The T150 probably poking out a little further than they should, and we're able to put a shell in there. Bear in mind where they're poking from is quite exposed. I'll get my cursor back from this M44 here. They can sort of direct fire here, so we're able to create a bit of a crossfire here between myself and the M44. Lining up the T150 again. He's playing a bit more cautiously there. So can we cause some splash damage? Can we cause a direct hit? Well, one way or another, we've nailed it and sent it back to the garage. Okay, we've got our AMX tank destroyer looking a little bit lonely on the right flank. They do have some backup in the form of the Hellcat, but we know that A46 is potentially going to be a bit of a menace, a bit of a poorly aimed shot from my part. I don't profess to be an expert in self-propelled guns, although a decent fight count in SPG that's under my belt. Enemy Tiger P taking crossfire from the VK3002M and the VK3601H, and between them and the Steyr Waffenträger, they're able to send them back to the garage. Supporting shot on the Breton Panther, and the Steyr Waffenträger manages to get their second kill of the game, which just leaves the enemy VK3601H on the beach in somewhat uncontested fashion. So who knows where they could come up? Will it be the H lane or the K lane? We shall see. Either way, I don't want our friend in the M44 to get boned, so there it is. We found the VK3601H, and we're able to send it back to the garage with a shotgun. Of course, in doing so, it's been able to see me, and we've copped a hit from the enemy Granatenwerfer Panther, which just leaves us on 32 hit points. But having taken that hit from the VK, or bounced that hit from the VK and the hit from the Granatenwerfer Panther, that's a secret tool that'll help us later. So the enemy is equal on guns, but up on hit points. So this is really just going to be a contest of eyes at this point in time. It can be a bit of a challenging contest to beat, however, because the enemy has an A46, which was a bit of a gift tank that was given out, but while its gun isn't much to write home about, its concealment, its properties as a passive scout are quite admirable, and you see that a lot as a trend through the British light tank lines. I'm going to speed this up a little bit because I guess this is sort of that cautious, campy endgame phase that often characterises games with 3 self-propelled guns. We managed to get a hit on the IKV-90B, and our friend Ishmash Saiga in the M44 is able to send him back to the garage. So he's on his 4th kill. He's having a fantastic game with these follow-up shots, or just getting these killing shots in first. Our VK3601 is able to identify the enemy self-propelled guns, a little bit of a cluster over in A4, which a bit of well-placed counter-battery fire is able to deal with. Still, we are in quite a difficult end game here. We have still the enemy A46 is in the game, so its view range characteristics are going to very much work against us. We've got our Hellcat that is appears to have preferred more of a backline sort of play style, and he gets a little bit of encouragement from Ishmash Saiga in the M44. We have our VK3601H, which unfortunately as a heavy tank is not really known for its properties of fantastic view range, although to be fair, the German heavy tanks, they seem to have better view range than many other heavy tanks out there. Bit of a blind fire by Ishmash Saiga in the M44 that's able to take the enemy Hellcat out, which is going to make our life a lot easier. That's another pair of eyes that we didn't really need, and we're able to find the A46. A bit of a blind shot there. But it appears we've been able to cause a bit of stunning damage along the way as well. I'll try to move in to close the net on the enemy as well. The VK3601H can only take maybe a hit or two from the A46, bearing in mind he's also supported by a Granatenwerfer Panther as well. But our VK3601H manages to seize the day, and so now we're just trying to chase down the last enemy self-propelled gun. So we make a bit of a run for the For the A0 area, there's 3 self-propelled guns aiming in the general direction. The Hellcat has managed to discover its W key, and not before being shotgunned by the Granatenwerfer Panther. So could be anyone's game at this point in time. We certainly don't want to be drip feeding ourselves in like the Hellcat did, I guess, because but never mind, the Granatenwerfer Panther is able to get an effective blind shot in there and end the game for us. So a bit of a tight result there. Let's take a look at the results page. So for our efforts there was a Class 1 Mastery badge where we've inflicted nearly 2,400 hit points of damage on the enemy team. Quite a bit of stun damage there, and sent 2 enemy tanks back to the garage. So the key criteria here for the Mouthful of Diamonds was to pick up either 2 Epic medals or Battle Heroes medals, and we've been able to do that firstly with the High Calibre medal, where you need to cause at least 1,000 hit points of damage but account for at least 20% of the total hit point pool of the enemy team. So that's ticked that box. But crucially, we've picked up the Stark's medal as well, and that's a medal that's only available to SPGs, and you basically need to destroy at least 2 enemy vehicles while receiving 2 hits yourself. Now, you don't have a lot of hit points to work with. I think we've got 360 hit points on the Granatenwerfer Panther, so we were quite lucky earlier in the game where we've blocked the shot from the enemy VK3601 and then taken a hit, a non-fatal hit from the enemy Granatenwerfer Panther, and that has been able to enable us to tick off this box with the Stark's medal and ultimately allow us to come home with the final honours condition completion for Bloc 15.1. That's the last of the German and Japanese set of missions for the Excalibur. Having a look at the team scores, fantastic game there by the VK3601H. He was quite instrumental, particularly in the end game, where he was able to sort of move in and identify the enemy self-propelled guns. He got stuck in a duel with the enemy A46, and just all-round fantastic performance. And special mention to Ishmash Saiga in the M44, who was able to get himself a Top Gun medal for his efforts in that game. Although a bit of a dirty seagull moment there with a lot of low hit point enemy tanks killed, but look, that is the nature of artillery sometimes, and you certainly serve your team well by just taking enemy guns out of the game. Have a look at the detail report. We fired 16 shots, 9 direct hits, which is not bad, considering some of the upcoming changes are going to be reliant on a lot more precision with your artillery play, particularly where you're using those shells with a smaller burst radius that cause more damage, or of course the armor-piercing rounds. So it'll be interesting to see how a lot of your favourite self-propelled guns perform under the new changes that are coming in a little under 2 weeks. In the meantime, if you'd like to see one of your videos featured on World of Tanks with PR154, please get in touch via Discord or at any of the links below, and we'll do our best to sort you out. In the meantime, take care out there.